Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. Today we're going to be discussing a subject that is pretty widespread and very common amongst many people, especially these days. And this is something that Joe has dealt with personally himself that he wants to come forward and talk about today. And that is social anxiety. And, this is something that I didn't even realize that Joe had ever since the time that we became friends until he actually opened up about it and talked to me about it personally, one-on-one. And apparently, from our past, we did some things back in the day, that, we don't do anymore. And a couple of those things that Joe did was, he smoked weed and he drank. He drank to the point to where at a point in his life, he became an alcoholic. And, I am proud to say today that he has actually overcame those things and he has quit smoking weed as well as quit drinking altogether. And it's amazing that he's been able to do that all with social anxiety. And the thing is according to Joe, in the conversations that we've had together, he has had social anxiety actually increase in his life because of quitting these things. And the reason why that he actually did these things was to suppress the social anxiety. So that's what we're going to be diving in today. We're going to be talking about this and Joe's experience with social anxiety, why he leaned on these things to suppress it in his life and how he's dealt with it since he's walked away from those things. So let's get into it. So what's up, Joe? How you doing today, man?
Man, I'm cool. It's nice. Yeah. It's nice and sunny outside today. It's not raining like it was yesterday.
Oh, I know, man. All right, so let's get into this, man. So the first question I want to ask you is, how did you first realize that you were experiencing the social anxiety? After quitting alcohol and smoking weed and everything, like, can you describe the moment that you actually realized this, like, and had that self-awareness?
I think it was when, like, basically, you know how you get invited to parties and all that type of stuff, or, grill outs or birthdays and all that. Yeah. Man, I was like, invited to these things after, quitting. And I just get there and be so uncomfortable. It'd be like, man, sometimes, man, I knew it got really extreme. I went somewhere one time and I only stayed for like 10 minutes and I was out of there. And I was like, really? Man, and then it took me like some time to really think about like how much like the alcohol and the weed played a part in me being around like settings, social settings and everything like that. So it was probably like a birthday or something like that, or that really made me realize that it was like I had it bad. Like, I mean, I've always been like somewhat introvert and a little extrovert, just a little tiny, but mostly introvert. But when I was drinking, I was a super extrovert.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And when you smoking weed, it's so many people that smoke that it just calms your nerves. You less anxious, and you can just get in that setting, and you just forget about everything. Yeah. But man, like it's hard going around. Social settings nowadays, and I'm not drinking or smoking. I used to be the one that I remember when my granny died. I pulled up to her house, and all my cousins and everybody, they all come up to my truck because they knew I had a cooler full of beer. You know what I mean? I was that person. And they knew I had a cooler full of beer packed at all times and some liquor. And now when I pull up to a place like that, I'm like, it's time to go.
Okay. All right. So
a lot of people and everything like that, but yeah.
So like, in your past and your experience and this like personal journey that you had battling, I wouldn't say you were ever addicted to smoking weed. Not based on like what I knew of you. I think that you enjoyed the
No.
aspect that it brought to the equation because it suppressed that social anxiety and it kind of broke you out of that shell a little bit. But I will say that you did have a stint of addiction with alcohol for sure. So,
Oh
like
yes,
go ahead.
I, no, I was just gonna say I was a alcoholic. Like I was a functioning alcoholic, and I didn't know that I was one of those until like after I quit. Also, like I went, I look back on my life and how it played such a huge part in everything.
Yeah.
And I didn't really realize, a lot of people don't like to hear that word, that alcoholic. But I mean, that's exactly what it was, man. You drinking every single night. What else are you? I mean, just because if you're drinking, you're not supposed to drink every night.
No.
I mean, I was doing it every night. So
Yeah.
yeah, I did have a problem with alcohol.
Well, in this personal journey with you, when you were battling, that addiction to alcohol, I would say, like, what do you think were the most challenging situations in your life while you were battling that? And, while you were also at the same time facing social anxiety, like, how'd you manage to overcome that? Like, when you realize, okay, I'm, I clearly have social anxiety. I'm drinking and it's helping me with that. Like, how did you overcome that aspect and decide, all right, regardless of the way that this is handling my social anxiety, I'm going to still walk away from this? Like, that had to be difficult. How did you really, what was it that kicked in that made you, ultimately walk away from alcohol and weed, even though you had social anxiety and it was seemingly helping with it?
Well, I just felt like as far as alcohol goes, and a little like the weed also, I just felt like, man, I was drinking to run from my problems, and and then when you get into like social settings like the bars and everything like that, man, when you drink and you go to um the bar, and especially like in my case, everybody knew who I was because I played music and all that type of stuff. And so as soon as you walk in the bar, everybody, hey,
Oh, I know. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you like a star, a local like. So yeah, man, like I I ended up quitting. Like I said, I don't know. I think it was, I don't know, bro. It had to be. I don't know. I ended up going on that diet originally. That's how I quit
Keto?
alcohol. I went on keto. Yeah, I ended up going on keto. I was looking up, you know, how. Well, first off, I went to the chiropractor, and the chiropractor told me that I was almost 300 pounds. And I got off the scale. I'm like, you need to recalibrate that scale, buddy. I am not almost 300 pounds.
Were you really?
I'm
No,
like,
you wasn't
you
that
need
close,
to,
was you? I don't think
bro.
300, bro.
I was 200. I was 270 some pounds,
Oh
and I didn't even
man,
know it.
bro, I
I
didn't
had,
realize
I
that.
had, bro. I had drank and smoked, and when you smoke, man, a pack of ramen noodles tastes like a steak. You know what I mean? Like, man. So, man, like, so I used to just when I used to have the munchies, like the super munchies, like.
Yeah,
But I ended up, like, and what's crazy is when I went to the chiropractor and he, did his thing, he walked out of the office and he looked at the people at the front desk and he was like, "See, I told you I can do it." And I'm thinking to
yeah,
myself, did they bet that I was like too big and too tall for him to fold me up? And after that, after that, man, after he told me I was 200 and some pounds, almost 300 pounds, I went home, I looked at diets, and I found the keto diet. And then on the keto diet, it was like, you got to limit your alcohol or whatever, this and that. And I just decided to just eliminate it altogether.
yeah,
And it was hard though, because I was like, I don't know if I can stop drinking. I was drinking every single night. I didn't know if I could stop drinking. But I was like, I got to challenge myself with this to move forward with the weight loss. So it was all of a sudden weight loss that I wanted it gone. and I started the keto, and then I stopped, and then all of a sudden I started noticing when I stopped drinking, I stopped hanging out with people because I don't know if anybody else can recognize with this, but it's not fun going to places where everybody else is drunk and you're just
No.
sitting there.
Oh God, it's not.
You
It
know,
really isn't. I don't know if you ever came with me before, but when we were clubbing, our clubbing days, I would go to the
yeah,
club some nights, but not drink because I knew I had to work the next morning. Misery, bro. I was just
yeah.
like, why am I here? Yeah, I
It's
know
the
what you
worst.
mean.
It's like you're looking around like you're the babysitter. You like you like I'm babysitting these folks.
Designated
Like I'm
driver,
just
guys. Don't worry.
yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
making sure nobody get hurt. And
Yeah. It's terrible. I know what you mean. Yeah.
yeah, so I just stayed away from it altogether. After a couple times of going and I didn't like being around it, I was like, man. So I just stayed away. And then that was the kickstart of the me quitting. It happened, but it was like unintentional. Like,
Well, thank God
but
for
it was
keto.
right, bro. Like keto literally saved my life. Like,
Yeah.
and today I don't weigh that much. I'm down to like 213 right now. So it's still
You're
not where
back
I'm
on
supposed to
keto.
be.
You're back on keto,
Yeah,
right?
I'm back on keto.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm back, I'm back slimmer, but yeah, luckily man, keto saved me. Keto saved me because and it's crazy because stuff like that happens and you don't even realize it, but it made me realize that I didn't even need alcohol
Right.
to go on with life. And like I said, keto was my little AA. So,
Right. I don't want to veer off too much, but yeah, speaking about keto, man, like for me, I understand what you're talking about because when basically, I did keto, all of the diets didn't work. Just like I'm sure it
yeah.
probably was the struggle for you when you tried other things. But once you see that visually, you're like, hold up, I look like this when
Yeah.
I'm good and I'm doing the right things and I'm eating right. I look like this and I feel like this, and it jump starts things in your mind. You're like, hold up, man. If I get like this, then maybe I don't need all this. So yeah, I see
Right.
what you mean. Yeah, it's a good thing,
I
man. I'm
wasn't
glad you did it.
dehydrated no more. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
man.
glad you did it.
I got lucky. So,
Yeah. So moving along, your social anxiety. I for one, being your friend for all these years, I didn't even know you had it. I had no idea because when we were around each other, you always seemed like happy-go-lucky, wide open, full of conversation, and I'd never registered it or put two and two together. But I did realize when you told me, like, oh, that makes sense because anytime we would do things in a group setting back in the day, most of the time it's like, nah, I gotta do this or I gotta, nah, y'all go ahead, man, y'all have fun, stuff like that. And it was very seldom that you would come out in a group setting like that unless you were drinking. And I didn't even know you were smoking for the longest. You kept that almost secret. I didn't even know. But
yeah.
with that being said, how has social anxiety affected like relationships, friendships, relationships with family, friends, girlfriends, whatever? How has that affected you in that aspect of your life? And like, what have you done when you like to positively address that and improve that aspect of your life with social anxiety?
Man, it affects me like a lot because I don't like it turned me into a extreme introvert. Like I love being at home. And I ain't gonna say there's nothing wrong with that, but
Nah.
I mean, I love being at home. Like that's just it's the safest place to me, and it's not like But as far as me being around people or everything, I don't. It do affect it though because you've invited me to a couple of barbecues, and I haven't
Yeah.
showed up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's 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 because I don't the mingling with people. You know, it's and like I know everybody's good people over there, and I know like my family, but it's just I don't know. It changed me where I don't like to mingle with people anymore.
Yeah.
And I
I
don't
hear you.
know, like I don't know why, but it's so like my family was trying to come over here yesterday. My nieces and my auntie, they called me, what are you doing? I said, I'm at home. I was, chilling. We about to come over there. And like I told her, like, hey, I'm good right now. I'm just chilling. And they was like, oh, for real, you gonna do us like that? I'm like, look, I'm in my zone. Like, I'm over here. I'm in my introvert zone over here. Don't come over here and disturb my peace.
Yeah.
Like, I love y'all. But so like a lot of things, man, I got friends, they tell me you've been born. You don't never want to go nowhere. You're born. And I'm like, let me tell you something. With this life, with this introvert life, I've saved a lot of money. Do you hear what I'm
Hey,
saying? I
hey,
don't go
hey,
out spending
cup
money
half full.
and
Yeah.
right. So when I was drinking though, dude, I would go spend so much money. Like, I drunk so much that I used to tell other people I can't afford to buy another car. Like my car was out here like on 3 wheels. You get what I'm saying? And I used
The
to tell people
truck.
I can't afford another
This
car
the
because I
truck.
was trying to drink. Yeah. I'm trying to my truck.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
Yeah.
drink. And bro, like I'm telling you, you know, right after I stopped drinking, like 2 or 3 months later, I bought a new car. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I know.
So
I know.
all
Yeah.
of that stuff, right? So it affects me to this day. You know, not drinking, and I tell you though, if I was drinking though, I would tell people come over here all the time. I would have came over to your house when you invite me to come over there. But I just stay here, and I don't think there's nothing wrong spending time with yourself either, and get to know yourself. So that's what I've been doing. Um, watching movies and TV shows and just chilling with my dog and everything like that. And that's it, man. That's what I've been doing.
That's good. So, what would you say are some good strategies that you've came across, like since quitting drinking and not smoking? Like, what are some things that you could say that you have done since then that have actually helped you cope with social anxiety?
To like, you mean like living with like social anxiety? Like, what did I
Like, you
do
know how you
to?
got social
What do you mean
anxiety,
by that?
right? Like, so you know how you used,
Yeah,
alcohol to kind of open yourself up and weed to kind of calm yourself down.
yeah.
What are some things that you could say outside of that, since you've quit both of those, that have helped you kind of cope with the social anxiety? Like, you have any outlets? Like,
Um. Well, yeah. Like, I tell you, one thing is like my dog. Like my dog is like a big part of
yeah,
coping with
yeah,
it, and I like he's here, so I don't have to like deal with too many people. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah,
uh, I do take him to the dog park a lot. So I go around some people, and I have like some small conversations with people at the dog park, and around in the stores and all that type of stuff. But
right,
I'm not most of the time. I'm not the person that's gonna start the conversation. But
yeah,
yeah. So I have I'm social when it comes to I got like hobbies. I go fishing, you know. Um I go walk the dog, I go do things. But I don't know, man. I'm still dealing with it though, you know what I mean? So I'm not
right,
I'm trying to put myself out there a little bit more. But it's crazy though, because it's like a whole flip. Like I was out when I was drinking. I was out there. I would be. I remember I went to like a Tech Nine concert. I was like at the front of the stage, like right there in front of them.
Yeah.
Like now, if I was to go to a concert, I'm at the back on the bar stool. You know what I'm saying? I'm all the way. But
So would you say that
it's
that
weird,
bothers
man?
you?
Like how
Does it
things.
does it bother you? Like, like when you walk away at the end of the day from an activity, does it bother you that you feel like maybe you didn't enjoy that to the fullest extent because of your social anxiety? Or are you at a point in your life where it it's like, it is what it is, and I'm comfortable in my skin, I'm comfortable with who I am, and this is just who I am, and at the end of the day, I'm fine with that. Like, how would you say, I mean, does it bother you, or are you just cool with it? Chill, relaxed.
Sometimes, like I don't know. Most of the time, I am bothered, and then sometimes I'm not bothered by it. You know what I mean? It's like I could be more social in this environment than I am in this environment. But I could be better. I could be better at being social with people.
Well,
I
not like
could,
that. Like, for
but
instance, like
I
the
don't know.
Tech Nine
Maybe I need to start
concert.
trying.
Or like the Tech Nine concert where you were talking about,
Yeah.
if you were drinking, you'd be at the front row. But without it, you're at the back. Does that bother
Yeah.
you?
A little. I mean, I'm gonna tell you, like when I was drinking, I had so much fun. I
Yeah.
had so much fun, but I think now, like being at the back, it's also part of like getting older too. Like it's just I have to realize that at the same time that I am maturing.
Right.
So I'm not. Years ago when I was drinking and everything, I wasn't as mature as I am right now. So I think like the older that I'm getting, I'm realizing that it's maturity that's setting in with me as well. So I don't think I would be at the front of at the front like either way like right now like
Yeah.
if I was drinking. I don't know like I mean, but I think that plays a big part too. Like and I think about that all the time, man, on a daily basis. Like man, I've matured a lot since uh stopping drinking and just everything in life period. Like I look at life a little bit different now where and I can see the maturity in myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's funny because when you talk about that, I saw this TikTok a couple days ago. I might have sent it to you, but some dude, he made a TikTok about being in the front row of rap concerts in your 30s. And he said he's up there like doing like this, and the rapper is like not even looking at, he's looking at everybody behind him, and he's got this bottle of water, he's
Yeah.
just shaking it. So the dude's getting all like drenched wet, and then he pulls out a bottle of champagne, he's like, and he's like getting sprayed by it. And he's like, dude ain't even looking at me, man. Yeah, he's like, I'm going to the back from now on. This ain't for me no more.
Exactly.
All right. So, all right. As always, I commend you for, and I'm sure a lot of other people do, especially the ones that tune into stuff like this, that, for you opening up and speaking about stuff like this. And as I've said before in the past, for the longest, I didn't even know you struggled with a lot of this stuff. And it wasn't until the later years of our friendship that me and you both even started open up about this. I mean, but like a lot of people struggle with speaking about their, their mental health, their struggles mentally, emotionally, and stuff like that. Like, what is it that you would say made you finally, sit down and say, all right, I want to talk about this. I want to discuss this. I want to get this out here. The social anxiety, the depression, and stuff like this that I've kept inside for so long. What is it that made you say enough with keeping this all inside? I need to share this with people. I need to talk about it.
Well, for one, I think like as far as sharing it like on this podcast, I think it'd be cool because it's probably a lot of people out there right now that's going through like quitting alcohol or, quitting smoking or whatever. And I think, man, my message is to tell people that I think what you have to do is like withdraw yourself from people. Like if you're really trying to change yourself and you really want to quit drinking alcohol, then you need to change who you're around.
Yeah.
And and I think that played a big part too in my journey, because I started to see that people didn't want to really be around me unless I was drinking. You know what I mean? So I think sharing this is like telling people it's okay to be alone on this journey, and then you'll find people that along the way that will align with what you got going on. But I mean, if you want to stop drinking and smoking, you have to change who you're hanging around with, because you will be like the people that you're hanging around with, and you'll never change. And like I would take having social anxiety and over being an alcoholic and a weed head any day. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
I hear you.
because being an alcoholic and all that stuff is it's like unsafe. It's unhealthy for your body. You out here, drinking behind the wheel, putting everybody else's life at risk because of your
Mhm.
decision. And I mean, and you can, one wrong turn, you can hit somebody. You know what I'm saying? And you kill them, and then now you're in jail for the rest of your life
Yeah.
over something that could have been. But most of the time, like a lot of people say they drink and everything to, I'm just having a drink. Or I got friends now, they tell me I'm having a drink. What are you having a drink for? Why do you drink if you're not trying to get drunk?
Yeah, I
You know what
hear
I'm
that.
saying?
I hear that. Yeah.
So I think having a sober mind is the best thing that ever happened to me.
Right.
Like it's having a sober mind, bro. It's like it's it's the best thing, man. I'm aware of everything. I'm
Mhm.
I'm I'm better at my finances. I'm better at what I'm intaking into my body. I'm better at uh just everything in my life. I'm better at, because I don't have these other things altering the way I think. You know? So I'm still I've been like I quit drinking like 4 years ago and stuff like that, and I stopped smoking and all that type of stuff. So this is still kind of in the beginning stage of me um trying to get out and get back into socializing with people. I think
Yeah.
it'll come, but it's still like in the beginning, like almost. But like I said, I take that over drinking and stuff like that, man. That wasn't, I thought it was fun, but now looking back on it, it wasn't fun at all. It
Right.
was, you waking up dehydrated, you late to work, you know what I mean? You got no money in your bank account. And after I
And all
stopped,
you're thinking about is that next drink. That next drink.
yeah, and after I stopped, all of it changed. All of it changed. You know what I'm saying? I got a savings account, I didn't have none of that. So it's all about like maturing, getting older, being self aware of things and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why I want to talk about it, man, because I know it's some people out there that's going through it.
Oh
I
yeah.
know it's some people out there that's wanting to quit drinking. You
Mhm.
can quit drinking. You can quit smoking. You just need to tell yourself you don't need this. I used to think I needed this to go. I needed this to stop the depression, or I need this for the anxiety or the worry. But really, man, if y'all think about it, all you doing is you hurting yourself, because you drinking and you smoking, and then it's what you say, suppressing it for a little bit,
Yeah.
and then once you come down off of that, then you go back into the real world, and then now you feeling all lonely and all this stuff and all these feelings coming back.
Right.
But man, like, bro, it changes you. It changed everything, you know. But
So
when
when
you quit,
your social anxiety, battling that, like how did you cope with, the I or even if did you ever experience like a feeling of isolation or loneliness because of social anxiety? And if you did, like how did you really cope with that? Because that's
Not
got to be
really.
bothersome. You know, you never did. That's good then. That's
No,
good then.
no, no. I discovered that I like to be alone. You know,
Okay.
it's this is what it is. Like some people, I think, just like to be alone. Like
Yeah.
I'm trying to be social. I'm trying to be social with people though at the same time, but I like to
Right.
be alone. You know, and but I tell you, when you was asking that question earlier about how it affected with like people around me and everything, I'm gonna tell you, it got so bad, bro, that I decided to go drive trucks to be by myself. You get what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
don't even want to work with people. That's just that's how it is. And 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 I'm telling you, it's the best thing. I do the best work when I'm by myself as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I don't know, like so it's kind of like both ways I can take it. Like I'm trying to be social and then I do want to be alone at the same time. I guess it's okay. I think it's okay to be alone or to, you know, I can go out there and do whatever, but I think the most important thing is protecting my sobriety. So um I
So
don't
it
try to
doesn't
get into
trigger
the
you into, you know, past
yeah,
temptations and your addiction. I get it. Yeah. That makes a lot of
right.
sense, man. And I'm sure there's a lot of people. And the reason why I asked that is because, you know, there's probably people where they do struggle with the social anxiety. And that's a good thing, you know, for yourself personally, that you're comfortable with being by yourself and being independent and on your own and enjoying your time by yourself. Because a person like myself, man, I would I would struggle because I struggle being alone. I don't like it. I don't like it too long. So
Yeah.
if I had something going on like that myself to where it was preventing me from getting out there and being around people given the opportunity, but at the same time I didn't like being alone, that would be miserable, man. So I'm glad that you do not deal with that because I'm sure there's
Yeah,
probably
that's
people out there that do, man. And golly, kudos to them for keeping it strong because I would not be
yeah,
handling that very well.
I got lucky with that too.
Yeah, man, that's a good
Yeah, man, I
thing.
got
I'm
lucky with
glad
that too. Like I have social anxiety, but I don't get lonely.
you can use it to your advantage. Like somebody calls you, hey, let's hang out. You don't want to. I got social
Yeah, it's
anxiety.
like
I don't feel like
yeah, exactly.
it. Yeah. So, all right,
Like
you
rain
know,
check is my favorite word.
right, right, Shay. So, like summing this all up, man, what advice would you give to others who might be dealing with not only social anxiety or any type of, you know, mental health issue, depression, you know, anything? Somebody who's been coping with those things with other things like alcoholism or smoking, or I mean, I'm sure there's other people that have been suppressing it with even harder things than that. What advice would you give them that you've experienced throughout your journey of dealing with addiction in those aspects and utilizing that addiction to suppress some of your depression, social anxiety, stuff like that? What advice would you give to others who have been dealing with the same thing, who are trying to heal themselves in a more natural way without using, you know, some kind of substance or anything like that, and get to the point to where you can happily say that you're at this point in your life?
My advice would be like watch what you putting into your body, like altogether. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So like if you changing, I feel like if you're eating junk food and all that type of stuff, you're gonna feel you're gonna have a bad mood. You're not gonna be like you eating junk food, you're not eating right. That plays a part on your mood. Then when you start eating healthy, then you start feeling better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So my advice would be just to stop and then change the way you eat and like just stop drink. Like what's the point? I'm not judging nobody, but what's the point of getting drunk? Like and all that type of stuff. What was now
Yeah.
I'm looking back on it. What's the point?
Right.
You go out, most people say, I'm drinking because these people at work, they put me in this. So you letting these people at work control you outside of work.
Right.
And now you're out here getting drunk because of you had a long week.
Yeah.
It's so much other stuff you can do with that instead of going out drinking and partying and smoking, and because that stuff I think makes the depression and anxiety worse. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
It does.
And that's what it did in my case. It made it worse. It didn't make it better. Drinking and smoking and partying made it all worse.
Mm-hmm.
And when you subtract that, you start eating better, and you start, drinking more water and stuff like that, and getting out um in the sun. I think you were talking about that a couple podcasts ago. But
Mm-hmm.
it's that's a better recipe. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me,
Mm-hmm.
I told myself I'd never drink again. Like, it
Yeah.
affected me that bad. I will never drink again. Like, I don't want to. Like,
Well,
I
one
don't
thing that
want
I
to.
can honestly say that I noticed with you is when you did quit, you did take other outlets, but they were much more positive. You did clean up your diet. You did get on keto. You did start working out. And then once you started doing those things, you made those two changes. You cleaned up your diet and you started working out. Then it's like your mind shifted. And next thing you know, in our conversations we were having, you're talking about, hey, bro, hey, you told me you were walking. Man, you know what we need to do? We need to get some bikes. You start talking like that. And when you make those minor changes, it's like your mind shifts into a more positive direction. And that happened with me too. Like when I stopped smoking cigarettes, or when I stopped drinking back in my early 20s, I immediately said to myself, I might not be able to do it all today, but tomorrow I'm going to make a minor improvement. And then the next day, I'm going to make another minor improvement. And then when you start doing that, it piles up. And once you start changing these things slowly but surely, it starts becoming easier and easier for you to shift your focus in that direction and stop focusing on what you used to do and start focusing on what you can do now. And I noticed that with you.
Yeah.
When you stop drinking, when you stop smoking, your mind slowly but surely shifted from what party am I go to, what drink am I gonna have next, and stuff like that, to where can we travel to? Where, what can I change in my diet that tastes good, that I would enjoy? And you started exploring different keto recipes and stuff like that. Bro's over here cooking keto pizza and stuff. I remember. So I feel like, there's things that you can do, because I know I've talked to so many people who have been alcoholics, who have been smoking weed and can't kick the habit at all. And they're like, I've tried this, that, and another. But the thing is I think what a lot of people do is they try to change it to the extreme. They want to take it all and change it all at once, but that's not how it works. You got to do it slowly but surely. Just make sure you are constantly doing something. And I keep going back to this one thing that I heard a long time ago. Do something, do anything, change one thing and improve one thing every single day. And I promise you, you will finally reach your goal. And bro, that stuck with me for the longest, because as long as I go to bed at night knowing that I improved one thing, I don't care if it's a different way that I changed Link's stank litter box and it helped my day, I can lay my head down at night and be like, yeah, I improved that aspect of my life. And it's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. It's a slow process, but I promise you, a year from now, if you take 365 days and you look back and say, I improved 365 things, they might have been minor, but that's major in the end. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's huge, man.
And I tell you too, man, I didn't even know I was changing people's lives doing this, but I have the friends that I have that that have stuck around, which you know one of them.
Yeah,
Like she changed her life. Like she don't drink anymore. She
that's
don't
awesome.
do, and it's not because they ain't because I told her to. She's seen the way my life has transformed
Mm-hmm.
from drinking to non-drinking. She's seen how healthier I've gotten, you know, and my mental health, how it just changed from not drinking to. So she applied that stuff to her life, and hey, she doing well out here. I mean, and it's crazy, man, because sometimes, bro, I do talk to people. I talked to some guy a couple of months ago at my job, and he was introducing himself to me. And he said, man, we go out and we go to the bar on Fridays after work and all this. And I'm like, man, I don't drink. He was like, you don't drink? You must smoke. No, I don't smoke. He said, what do you do? I don't do nothing. And he's like, he looking at me like,
It's like it's almost
you
a
don't do nothing. What do
requirement
you?
from the general public. Like you gotta have some kind of vice,
Right.
but it's like you don't. Yeah, it's weird, man.
Yeah. People be looking at me weird, bro, when I say I don't drink or smoke. Like I'm like straight edge out here. Like I don't do nothing. And they be looking like, and you know, it's a good feeling too, because I think sometimes it make people think like, man, if this dude is not drinking and smoking and I'm out here doing it, I know, bro, I know it's a way out. Like I don't have to do it either.
Yeah.
Because we think that everybody's doing it, but it's not. Like, and it's weird though. I mean, it's weird how the looks that I get when I tell people I don't drink.
One thing too I've noticed
I don't do nothing.
Yeah, and one thing that I've noticed is like with the general public, you probably noticed this too. Like when you start moving your life in a different direction, in a positive direction that goes kind of against the grain of the original crowd you were rolling with, they want to knock you. They want to subtly knock you initially until they start seeing that true improvement, and then they're like, "Hold up." Then you start hearing those chirps start to go away. And next thing you know, you see a couple of those people talking about, hey, what gym you join, man? How much it costs? Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Where was all that talk?
Right. Yeah. So, man, dude, that's what I'm on right now, man. It's like trying to get just as healthy as possible, you know, and because I feel like when I'm, like what you were saying earlier, when you're healthier, your mind is better. So that's what I'm doing right now. So, I mean, I'm dealing with not being social by picking up new hobbies. That's what I do. I pick up new hobbies, and this in this season right now, I'm trying to get extremely the most fit I can be, and to do that, I gotta surround myself with people that kind of have that same mindset, you know, and like you, and other people, but. That's what you have to do, man, to stay sober, keep your mind right. And hopefully y'all that's watching this, hopefully none of y'all are one of those people that do get lonely, you know, when
I know,
when you are alone.
I know.
I don't know what you have. You can have phone conversations with people. Those would be the best. But
or do online gaming or something like that, because I knew a guy who struggled with loneliness and depression, but he also kind of has social anxiety. But I noticed an improvement when he started hopping online doing online gaming. So that's a kind of an outlet. I mean, I don't got too much detail, but yeah, just keep searching, man. You'll find something. But as always, Joe, I definitely appreciate it, man. Thank you for coming on here and opening up about everything. I commend you myself personally, and it's inspiring to me as your friend when I see you making positive changes like that, because just like anybody else in this world, I have my days where I'm like looking back like, man, I'm gonna fall back on some of these old habits. And then I see you still progressing or searching for things to improve your life, such as this diet, bro. You by you being on this diet and getting your fitness back in check and stuff like that, that's been a huge impression on me myself. And I see you doing that, and it kicks my mind back into gear sometimes where I want to fall back. And, you know, as always, I appreciate you for being that type of person and keeping your mind in the right direction and making these positive changes in your life, because it is encouraging people around you, such as myself, to keep theirs in check too. And, you know, a lot of people, I'm sure, would appreciate the fact that you're on here, especially with social anxiety and, you know, the mental health aspects that you've talked about in previous podcasts, and open up about these things, because a lot of people, they don't have it in them to do it. And seeing you do it is going to help them want to open up about it and talk to, you know, maybe not get online and talk about it, but at least talk about it with somebody around them they can trust, you know? So I appreciate you, man. Love you to death. I'm glad that you came on here and did this today. We actually made it in good time today. We're usually 3 hours strong. Yeah, we did good today. But for you guys, we definitely appreciate you tuning in, and we appreciate all the support and the love. We're going to keep them coming. As always, like, subscribe, send in your comments. We love the feedback. We love it. Keep it coming.
Down below.
Down below. Yeah. Keep your head up. Stay strong. Keep searching for good and positive improvements in your life. I promise you will find them. There is always a light at the end of the tunnel.
Surround yourself with good people.
Yes.
Surround yourself with good people.
Very key. Very key. All right, y'all have a great day. We'll see you on the next one.
Peace.